Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbadger.com, here for part 2 in the Factory to Table series, and today I'm here with
Mitch, and
he is going to walk me through basically assembling, welding up, and making a silencer for the little minifix. One of the things that ultimately makes these so light is all titanium parts, right?
Correct.
And so once you get these in, basically the different blast baffles and everything, where does it kind of go from there?
Once we get the parts in, they get cleaned in the ultrasonic.
Okay. And then
basically hot water and soap.
All right, so once they're super clean, we're going to move on to the part that I'm going to have a hand in, right?
Correct.
Where we get these guys together?
We're going to press them together and weld it.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
As you just explained to me, I'm going to be building a Trash Panda, and as far as Q's silencer line, that's basically dictated size between the Trash Panda and the Thunder Chicken, having more step baffles, correct?
Correct, yep.
Okay. And what I found really interesting is your son, Ethan, explained to me the importance of this first blast baffle being concentric, and then all the step baffles being non-concentric, in that you can make it quieter by having this non-concentric at the expense of accuracy, which I find fascinating. But so we're going to start with these two, right?
Correct, yep.
All right, let's get this guy pressed.
And then just bring the hand wheel down until it touches.
All right.
And seat it with the handle.
And then hand wheel back up.
Yep.
All right. And on to my next.
And the first step baffle doesn't have to be oriented.
Okay, after that we're going to
After that,
orient.
you're going to line these up.
Oh, okay. Dealer's choice.
Right.
Let's do this. And so you had mentioned we need to now orient these correctly so that we get the gases going the correct way.
Right.
All right. Am I looking good so far?
Yeah, looks good.
All right. Good deal. Moving on.
Now your end cap.
Now that we're at the end, do we have any orientation? Or?
No, the end cap is non-directional.
All right.
Yeah, that's the press.
All right, time to weld it, yeah?
Yes.
All right. So tell me about this machine. This is going to do our welding, correct?
It is. It's a robotic TIG welder. It uses argon gas to shield the weld. And basically you just line up your tungsten, which creates the arc, with your seam, and you hit the go button.
I can hit a button. So.
You can.
All right.
You're going to weld this one.
Awesome. Let's get this thing, I guess, in here then.
All right. So first off, we're going to put it in the machine, and tailstock comes forward and holds it.
This is basically like a lathe, right? Like this is keeping it perfect.
That's the speed it's going to turn at as it's welding.
Very cool.
We've got a crude guard. What this does is it concentrates the argon gas around our silencer to keep any contaminants from getting in the
Gotcha,
weld.
so your welds are nice and clean.
Yep. There's a control here, moves a tungsten back and forth. So basically what you have to do now is
Line that guy
line the tungsten up with that first seam between the blast baffle and the mount. And when you think you have it close, we can do a manual gap test to make sure you're on the seam.
And so I want to be looking perfectly square through this, right?
Correct. Yeah. We'll do a manual gap test.
All right.
If you watch it.
All right. So it is ever so slightly.
Now you can adjust it.
No, wrong way. How am I doing?
Looks good. I need my glasses though.
All right.
Yeah, looks fine.
All right.
Now to
And
hit start. And,
this button, huh?
yeah.
And not stare at it?
And don't look at it. It's going to get very bright. Now it's doing a pre-purge. It's putting argon in
Through
there.
the system.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Once it does its weld, it'll do a post-purge. So as the metal is cooling, no contamination will get in as well.
Oh, okay. And so it'll basically keep pushing argon through there?
Yeah. Now it's doing the post-purge. It's done welding, but it's still keeping argon over the molten titanium.
All right. And at this point, we
Now
want
we're-
to shift,
We're
right?
going to shift over to the next scene and repeat the process.
Using this?
Yep.
All right. All right, I think I'm there.
Okay.
And so,
You know,
To double
I
check.
don't do the manual gap test every time.
because you're a pro,
Well, when you hit the start, it'll come down and you can still adjust, and then you've got a few seconds to get it lined up. You know,
I'm not that trusting of myself. So let's try another manual gap
All right.
test.
as it's coming down, you can adjust that.
Oh, okay. There we are. All right.
Okay.
And now, there we go.
A cheat sheet.
Cool. Looking good?
Yeah.
I finished my last weld on here,
right.
and I probably don't want to grab this guy with my hands.
Nope. Next, you just pull that white box and remove the two black blocks. Set that on the table.
All right.
Now with the pliers, grab it right in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah. And release your tailstock. This switch right here.
You're right here.
Move it all the way to the right. Okay.
Gotcha. And we're going to
Set
just
it-
set it down to cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And in about 20 minutes, you'll be able to touch it.
All right. And just with respect to the scope of making a silencer, we're not going to go through there's only so much we can do, but from here, the next process is going to be wire EDM, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
I would probably check the outside diameter run out,
Okay, make sure I did a good job
or
on my welds.
yeah, or it could have been a defective part. One of the steps might have been off a little bit.
All
That
right.
it would make a crooked silencer.
Gotcha.
So we got to check the outside diameter run out.
Okay, cool. We'll do that once this thing cools.
All right.
now that I can actually handle this, we're gonna get into some QC. And so this is going to essentially simulate the cherry bomb.
The cherry bomb.
So
correct.
we're using the tapers on here to create alignment, just hand tight.
Correct.
And I don't trust myself to set this machine up, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and set this up, and we will gauge it. So you now have it in here, and we're
going to spin it, check the outside diameter run out.
Okay. And this is measuring in what increment?
Thousandths of an inch.
Thousandths of an inch. And so we want to make sure our tolerances are really close, so we don't want deviation where this
Correct.
is moving, right?
The straighter it is, the better it is.
All right. And so is that about 12 thousandths of an inch, like the deviation, which is within the threshold, right?
Yes.
As far as QC.
That would be a go.
All right.
Yeah, we're right around 9 to 10 thousandths.
And then we're going to go ahead and move down and measure the different
No,
welds, or is it just the end?
Just the end. That's where you're going to get the most run out, is on the end. The further you get, it's going to get better.
I follow, yeah, because it'll...
It's like a minute of angle.
No, absolutely. Okay, no, that totally makes sense then.
Yeah.
While we haven't had a chance to wire EDM this silencer I just made, once it is wire EDM'd, this will be the next step,
The next
correct?
step, yeah. We check the inside.
And so same
diameter run out.
process as far as rotating this.
Yep.
And we're still looking for basically within a threshold, correct?
Correct.
All right. Awesome. So let's go over the wire EDM process real quick. So behind me here, this is our wire EDM machine, right? And what are we trying to accomplish with this?
Get perfectly concentric hole, match your...
That's right, because you mentioned that when they make the step baffles, they're actually undersized.
They're undersized, yes.
Okay, and so what that allows is making sure we do our due diligence, measure the outside diameter, everything should be good. We have an undersized hole, so the wire EDM is going to basically cut away and make it perfect.
Correct.
And perfectly concentric through there. Okay.
All right.
Well, we lack the time to go run one of these through this machine, but that would be the next step.
That would be the next step.
All right. At this point, we've done all we're going to do in-house, barring running my one silencer through. We'll wait till the whole wire EDM machine is full.
Right.
And at that point, it's actually going to get checked one last time for internal diameter, and then you guys ship it off for
PVD coating.
Okay, and then once it comes back, that is the silencer, right?
Yeah, they'll inspect the coating, make sure it's done correctly, and gets packaged and shipped.
Awesome. Well, thank you for walking me through building my silencer. I appreciate it.
All right. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And we will move on from here and go build another component. Really stoked for the opportunity to come down here, get a hand in making one of these guys. And at this point, it's time for the next step of the journey. Gonna head up north, New Hampshire, and bring you part 3. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.